Welcome back. Okay, I'm going to stay as um, focused as I can on this because I could talk about Archangel Michael forever, as we know. And I I'm putting a timer on here because if I don't, this could go on for an hour, and this is only the first video. So I'm doing this. I'm trying to save you here. So what I want to do is try and stay on point and get to it very quickly for you so that you get the essence of all of the messages here and you get the overview of everything. And what I will say to each and every one of you as you watch these videos, if there is a particular thing that you have questions on or need more answers or explanation on, please, I beg of you, come back to me. I can make another video and put it in so that everyone benefits from it. But I'm very conscious of I can talk for Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales, to America, Australia. You all know that. So I'm trying to keep this to a place where I give you the information and you go and you process it and you can come back with your questions without overwhelming you with too much content. And that's key for me. So all that being said, in this video, we're going to look at three things that we work with Archangel Michael for, and that's communication, forgiveness, and protection. So I'm going to go into each one of them and help you understand how to work with Archangel Michael, why you work with him, and why he's so good at helping you, and what's the best thing to do in order to do that. So, communication. So straight away, Archangel Michael is the angel of the throat chakra. So our communication. But remember, our communication is not just the words out of our mouth. Our eyes are constantly communicating. Our body language is constantly communicating. And our ears are communicating by listening. So when we say Archangel Michael is the angel of communication, he is the angel of all of that communication and all of this body language. So remember that it is not just how he helps you express your words verbally, it's how he expresses you express your words emotionally, impactfully, energetically, with clarity, with direction, with wholeheartedness and honesty and integrity, through your words coming out of your mouth, through the body language coming from you, through the expression in your eyes, and through the listening to what people are saying to you. So that is the whole communication thing. You also have your communication with your soul, with your higher self, source, God, whatever term you wish to use, with communication with Mother Earth. So Archangel Michael helps you with all of those aspects of communication as well. If it's a means of you expressing yourself out into the world, through your work, through your singing, through your body language, through your mood, your energy, your attitude. Remember, your attitude is an expression of who you are. How you walk is an expression of who you are. You can have people who are walking head down, and you have people who are walking and they're smiling, good morning, how are you? And they're constantly communicating. So when you need help communicating, sit and take a moment and ask yourself, where do you feel you're not expressing yourself clearly? Where do you feel you are maybe lacking in confidence, or maybe you don't know how to find your words? This is where I find a lot of the time where I'm asking Archangel Michael, even if I'm doing a reading, I go, tell me the word, or how do I say this in a way that it's heard? And that is very important. That particular line, how do I say this so that it is heard the way it's meant, with the intention and integrity behind it? That's a really powerful statement. So how do I say this in a way that it can be heard with the intention and integrity behind it. And I find that this is really important when either you're making a presentation and you want people to see where you're coming from with what you're telling them, not in a I'm right, you're wrong mindset or intention, but can you hear me? Do you understand where I'm coming from? Can you get the importance of this to me and the importance of this for the collective? That kind of thing. It also is very powerful when we have to say something to somebody, something very important, something very serious, maybe something very sad. It could be the end of a relationship. It could be letting somebody go from a job. It could be um, putting someone up on what they have or have not done. And it's an uncomfortable conversation, but it has to be had. Um, it can be about you trying to express to somebody else how you are feeling, and you want them to hear it and not for them to think that you're trying to blame them for it or that they even have to do anything about it. You just want them to be aware of it and that it might help them to understand where you're at and why you've been a certain way, and that they don't have to do anything. They just need to know, accept, and be aware of it. There's a whole host of different ways that you can have this conversation. And so by sitting with Archangel Michael and having that internal conversation, or if you're like me and you're at home and you're on your own and there's nobody else in the house and the windows are closed, you can have the conversation out loud. But you can sit and actually kind of go, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm trying to get across and what I want to say and what I want to speak about. Help me find a way to say this in the energy that is heard, with the integrity and intention behind it. And you will find over a period of minutes or hours or days how you are going to say what you want to say comes to you. But also it gives you time for you to come to peace with what you have to say, so that when you are saying it, that you can stay in the right energy of it, because part of that expression is being able to hold your energy so that you get to say what needs to be said and so that it can be heard. So as you can see, communication alone is huge. If your work requires you to communicate, if you are in acting or dancing or singing or any form of music, or I remember actually as well, sorry, I should have said this, art in all its forms. Art in all of its forms is an expression of communication. So I might write down pages in a book and you might paint a magnificent piece of work. Both of us are expressing something very clearly. Both pieces of work tell others a lot about us if they're willing to sit with it. But also, it's a form for us to express fully who we are so that the person who is looking or the person who's reading can get an insight into us without us even having to sit down and go, this is who I am and this is what I think. But through our work, they have that connection. So, right, this is why I have the timer on. So can you see how even in that one little section with Archangel Michael, how impactful he can be in your life with how you show up and express yourself in the world, in every form of that expression. And if you feel that right now you're not able to do that, well, then you sit down and you start talking to him. You can journal. Some people find it easier to sit and start writing about what they want. It's a kind of an easier space to kind of articulate what it is they want to see. And through kind of talking and writing, you bring it out into form and you get the clarity and the direction and the intention and everything behind it to ask your question about what it is you really need help with in expressing yourself with integrity, with authenticity, with love and compassion and kindness in a way that it can be heard with the intention and integrity behind it. That's huge. That's communication. That's one aspect. I could be here for days on that one alone. So we're going to move on. If you have any questions, please come back to me. If you need me to go deeper on any of these topics to help you get more clarity, please come back to me. Okay? So we're going to now move on to forgiveness. Forgiveness is a form of expression and communication as well. So you can see the extension comes out naturally here. You cannot, you cannot move forward in your life if you were holding on to hurt, pain, anger, sadness, grief, and I will talk about grief separately in a second, grief, disappointment, jealousy, bitterness, oh, all those negative energies that need to be let go of. Why? Because all that negativity is like the most gigantic boulder that has your soul tied to it. And that every time you try to move forward, it stretches, and then boom, back you go here. And it will do that repeatedly to you. If there's an aspect of your life that you have not healed and let go of, it will be like a boomerang that keeps bringing you back, bringing you back, and bringing you back. So forgiveness is about freeing you, not the other person. It's about your freedom. Forgiveness gives you freedom. Because when you can let go of something, when you can forgive the person for what they did, that doesn't mean you forget and let it be walked over, but you forgive them energetically, mentally, and emotionally and spiritually so that you can walk out the door of that emotional prison that you have been tied in. This is a game changer. And if you speak to anybody who has done forgiveness work, they will tell you, until I could forgive and let go, I could not move forward in my life. I was not living my life. I was barely existing in my life. But when I did the forgiveness work, it was like someone lifted a couple of 100-ton weight off of me. And I was able to breathe because, again, forgiveness is part of being an expression, it's part of the lungs, which is the throat chakra in here. So where do we hold it? Here in the lungs. What's that affect? Our breathing. So when we forgive, it's like as if someone has released the 3/4 of the lungs that have been closed off, and suddenly we can breathe, really breathe, and feel it with that joy and freedom. So what I want you to think about is, who am I still angry with, hurt, disappointed, jealous of? What relationship am I still holding on to that is over? What blame am I still holding on to that I'm using to justify some other thing in my life? And yes, we do it. I can't do that because once before I was hurt, and I will never be hurt again. So I will not love. Now who's hurting you? Because it sure isn't the person that hurt you way back then. They hurt you once, and you've been hurting yourself every day since. And when you get that realization that when you hold on to something, you are now reliving it within you in some capacity or other, so you are now hurting you. That there's no sense, meaning, or logic to that. Why would you do that to yourself? And more often than not, there are two reasons we hold on to it. One, we don't want the other person to think they got away with it. But the other person has already got away with whatever it is. It's gone, they're gone, they're not being affected. It is not affecting them for the minutest of seconds compared to maybe the years that you've held on to it. And we're also afraid we forget and allow it to happen to us again. But you can forgive and say, I'm aware of this, and I will become more aware of what's happening around me. And when I see something like this happen, I will stop it before it has any impact on me. That does not mean that I do not trust. It does not mean I do not love. It does not mean that I do not care. I'm just more aware. And when people show me who they are, I will believe them. Beautiful piece from Maya Angelou. One of the most profound lines. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Because all too often people do show us who we are and we go, ah, no, they didn't really mean that. No, 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 no. Because we have been brought up with this thing of, you never put someone down. You look for the best benefit or the best in them. You give them the benefit of the doubt again and again and again because it's wrong to judge, but you're not judging. You're not judging them. You're just aware of who they are. You're accepting them for who they are, and then you're making the conscious decision to go, I can see you, I accept you, I send you unconditional love, but you will not be in my life. Because I have set my boundaries. And I will not tolerate that. I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying I won't have it. You can bring it anywhere else, that'll be taken from you, best of luck to you, but not in this house. And that's the difference. You can forgive, you can learn, you can grow, and you can see it coming, and you can stop it before it impacts you. And again, that's what forgiveness does, because when you hold on to it for so long, it's like the lesson keeps coming back to beat you up with different people. So forgiveness is freedom. If you can keep that in mind, the more I forgive others and myself, the freer I will feel within myself. And yes, you do have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself for holding on to it for so long. You have to forgive yourself for the pain that you've caused yourself unintentionally, unconsciously. You have to forgive yourself for any part you had in that situation, knowingly or unknowingly. And people can go, hold on a minute now. I didn't do anything wrong. In order for it to have happened, you did something. Now, you may not have consciously done something, but you may have allowed a behavior to continue to the point where it became painful because you didn't speak up. Because you were reared in a house like I was, where my mother's famous line is, for peace sake, let it go. For peace sake, let him have it. I don't like being peaceful about it. But this is the problem. A lot of what we tolerate in our lives is because we were reared to let people away with things. We were not reared, and people of my age now, I'm talking about anyone from over 40 upwards, we were not reared with boundaries. We were not reared with opinions. We were opinion. What do you mean? Who wants your opinion? What do you mean you have an opinion in our house? Like, what do you mean you have an opinion? I can always like, who do you think you are? And there was none of that. So we allowed people to treat us certain ways, and we didn't do anything about it because we were rare to let things happen and say nothing. So we're still healing that whole process. But then we're also having to heal the impact of that behavior has shown up in other relationships for us. So forgiveness is about freeing us from all of that, going right back to the child, because that child is in a situation at a certain time in your life and energetically they're still there. Your body moved on, but a piece of your energy lives back there. And all of those integral moments, those traumatic moments, those impactful moments, pieces of your soul are residing there for you to go back to heal, forgive, release, let go, and collect and return and collect and return and collect and return until you are whole. Until you are whole and free. And Archangel Michael is the angel of forgiveness. He is the angel who cuts the ties with all of these times in your life and helps you to release yourself from all of them. He's so powerful in helping you to even see more clearly what you have to let go of. I had a woman here recently for a reading. The most beautiful soul. Oh my God, the most beautiful soul. And she had gone through something really horrific and had started doing work but was finding it hard to stay in it because she still kept referring back to how hard that was and how difficult that was and how horrific that was and how much it has destroyed her. So she was in a loop of trying to forgive it, but she was in a loop of keeping telling you how much it's destroyed her and how hard it was. And through a conversation that came through from the angels in the reading, it was helping her to see how that situation happened, why that situation happened, and what it means for her now. And because she was able to start doing the forgiveness work, she got to a point where she could forgive the person for what they did, could see the child version of them and what they had been through, and could send love to the child version who was hurting still inside in that adult body. But equally so, understand the lesson the whole experience had given her into what she had to do next in her life. Because what that had made her look to and change and start on a new journey because of that situation. And it's because she did the forgiveness work. It's because she worked with Archangel Michael every day to help her see it, that she had been able to come through that. Now, she's still healing. She is still doing the work. But she is looking at that whole situation through different eyes. What happened didn't change, but she can see it. And that's allowing her to free herself from the pain of it. And now learn the lesson and become aware of the energy behind it and intention behind it to help her grow into who she is becoming and what she is doing left. Yeah, next. Sorry, word clicking. This is why working with angels is so important. This is why working with Archangel Michael, to be able to process all of that, to be able to come from a place of hurt and anger and disappointment and heartache and pain and move through to looking at it from a perspective of a life-altering situation that has now put her on the path that she is on, that's going to take her to a whole new opportunity. So she had reached the point where she was able to be grateful for that and be grateful for that person being who they were, doing what they did, because if they hadn't done that, she wouldn't be on this journey now. Now, that took time. I don't want to say that that just happened like that. That took time, but that did take working with Archangel Michael and her guardian angels and a couple of other angels in there for her for the particular situation that she was in, because there was health stuff involved. Um, but that working with forgiveness. Now, I'm a huge, huge, huge advocate for the forgiveness letter. And the reason I'm such an advocate for it is when we write, and this is how I see it, and I can see it when I'm doing readings, and I can see it when I'm even doing stuff myself. When we write about pain and write, we can literally feel it climbing up through our body, up into our shoulder, down our arm, into the pen and onto the paper, and it's left us. And it's like if you can see that, if you can see that every time I write a word, more of it comes out of me. And it's pulling up and it's pulling out and it's actually leaving me. And now that it's on paper, it doesn't seem as powerful. It doesn't seem as hard. It doesn't seem as bad. I'm not saying it's not powerful. I'm not saying it's not hurtful. I'm not saying it's not painful. But because it's out of here and onto here, the page, it has become less impactful, less powerful, less hurtful, and easier for us to forgive. And we get to articulate all of our emotions and direct them to whoever we want to direct them towards and release all the pent-up history, stories, and anger we have behind us. And we're able to get it out there without having to have a row or an argument or anything with anybody. It is the safest, most powerful, impactful place to do forgiveness. And I do a lot of forgiveness packages with people, and the releasing and the healing and the overall change in people from this work is phenomenal. And I do honestly think that if you are going through something, you sit down, you start working with Archangel Michael, you sit down and you start writing your forgiveness letters. And what I might do is I might do a separate video on writing forgiveness letters as well for you, just as it's something that you can do under every full moon. A full moon is a releasing moon, um, but you can do it on the new moon as well. But you can do these letters at any time. But I think there's certain moons throughout the year that are so energetically geared towards letting go, and to do a releasing around that time is powerful. But you can do this anytime. I don't wait. If I have something to say, I need to say it now to do. So it comes out now and I need to let it go. And so I write all you did and didn't do, all you said and didn't say, and the imp that you have any idea what you did, and I let you know what you did, and I show no mercy here. I'd like let it out. It's the one place where you can let it all out, and I use whatever flowery language I wish to use in it as well, because I remember sitting with God, and just so I want to say this because people say I don't want you to curse, but I actually sat with God and I said, look, is there an issue with me cursing? Because I said, I curse for fun, I curse for joking, I curse for anger. I curse. That's it. And all he said to me was, the word itself has no power until you give it power with your intention behind it. So when you curse, don't worry. If your intention is fun behind it, it's fun. If your intention is just, expression, but if your intention is to hurt, the same word that you said for fun can hurt somebody because your intention is to do so. Nothing has power until we give it intention. Just remember that. Nothing has power until we give it intention. So if you want to express your hurt, that is your intention, then do so on paper because it allows you to do so to release the anger, but it's not directed at anybody else to be hurt. So it gives you a space, like a safe padded room that gives you space to do it where nobody else gets hurt by it. Because you don't want to hurt anybody else, you want to close this off. So use your letter as a space to do that. So, you can, dear Mary, dear John, I have to talk to you about this because it's eating me up, and the anger and the hurt and the pain and all the rest of it. And I need to talk to you about when such happened. And away you go, tell your story, express how hard it's been, how angry you were, how disappointed you were, how it has impacted you since. Do you know that since you did that, I cannot do X, Y, or Z. Or I don't, if you, because the way you treated me in that relationship, I have never been able to trust anybody in a relationship. Whatever it is, let it all out. Pour it out onto the pages. And then when you get to the end of giving out of them, you forgive them for what they did to you knowingly and unknowingly. You let it go. I just needed you to know that. And I'm letting it go now. And then you forgive yourself for holding on, for allowing it to have such power over you, for any part. And you can, even if you're not even sure what part you may have had, you can say, for any part I may have had in that whole situation, knowingly or unknowingly, I forgive myself. And that is such an impactful thing. I will say to you, when you write these letters, give yourself time and space because they are draining. And you could do a letter and you might be able to do another one for a while, so be prepared for that as well. But that's a whole other lesson. I kind of just want to do the overview. So that's what the forgiveness letters, and you keep working with Archangel Michael to help you to find the words to express yourself in the forgiveness letter, so that you get everything out onto paper, so that you can let it go and move on with your life. And you ask him to cut the ties. And again, I have a beautiful meditation on cutting ties and letting go, which I will put up in the group as well. And so that's forgiveness. And our last one then is protection. And I love this because especially, I love this, do this for myself, but I actually kind of need love this more for doing it for others. When Kieran went away for the summer, I had Archangel Michael wrapped around him on a full-time job, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He told me he couldn't take his eye off the ball, not once. That if he didn't bring my baby home to me, he better run and run far. And um, but I love this because we can ask him to protect the people that we love. If we're going somewhere, we can ask him to protect us. When I was going to my niece's wedding in Slovenia there in the summertime, I said no. First of all, I had the angels fly the plane. They were flying the plane under it and around and in it. And then I had Archangel Michael put a dome of protection around it from the moment we left to the moment we got there and all the way back. And while I was gone, I had a dome of protection from Archangel Michael around the house here as well. So that's what I do. I ask him to protect everyone and everything. He's on a full-time job. I don't know how he's going to help you now because he's working full-time for me. So, but it's like asking him to protect someone who's going through something. Like, we are in a time of year where there's an awful lot of children just starting school. Like, some of them are like, they're just too small. They shouldn't be going to school at all. They've time enough to go another couple of years. But they're nervous, they're anxious, it's very different for them, asking Archangel Michael to walk with them and to shield them and protect them, so that they get to get in there and enjoy it and grow and be happy there. Going to secondary school, same thing. Going back to college, the same thing. Going on holidays that they're leaving, wrap them up in Archangel Michael's wings, or in this cloak of protection, and just visualize them standing in the room, and Archangel Michael coming in and around them with this big cloak, and he places it over his shoulders, and they're right down to the ground, and he zips it up from the ground the whole way up on the chin, lifts up the hood, and it comes down over the third eye, so it comes down to about here, and their whole senses are protected and they're safe. Or as I like to see him sometimes is that he's got these big, huge, massive wings, and he just wraps the wings around me, and not even a puff of air can get through them. That strong, and that protected, and it's high and it's wide, and it's like I'm safe here. And I always feel when I ask for myself, and when I'm sending somebody else, but I feel when I ask for myself, like I've just been wrapped in this big, cozy blanket, and I'm nearly invisible because of the protection. So nothing can harm me. I love that. So asking him to protect. There is a little prayer. The Archangel Michael one's above and below, to my left and to my right, to my back and to my front, to with it, there is a little prayer. I must find that one actually, Archangel Michael prayer. Write that down now. And it's the traveling prayer. I call it the traveling prayer. I'm not sure that's the actual term for it, but I call it the traveling prayer. And I will put that up as well. Now, you may be watching this video today, and all of what I'm saying up in the Google Drive might not just all be there. I'll be finding stuff and putting it up. I may have to re-record some meditations and put them up, but they're all going to be in the Google Drive. So just keep checking in, and I'll keep putting in little notes into the Facebook Messenger group and into the Facebook page, and threw a few more bits in there today. Have a look and see if there's anything that resonates with you that you might need or use. It might be meditation, it might be a prayer, it might be an affirmation and that. So like I've so many bits collected. I want to go looking now and kind of going, yeah, that'll work and that will work. So do do keep an eye on that, and I would said I'll keep updating you as well. But there'll be, and as I said at the start, and I said it in the overview video, not everything will be for you. You might go, I'm not interested in that, or I'm not doing the prayer thing. I want just the meditation, or I can't connect to the meditation, but I do like the prayer. Find your thing. Find your thing. Works for you. Know that all of those tools are going to always be there in the September resources folder, always for you, so that you can go back in later. It might not resonate with you now, but it might resonate with you in 6 months' time when you're going through something. You come back in to look at the stuff from Archangel Michael, and suddenly the meditation you couldn't connect with because at the time you weren't in something that needed it, suddenly now resonates with you. So all resources will always be there. You can go back into any of the months and find them. So do remember that as well. All right. So, okay, I've gone longer than I planned, but I can you see why there's just so much to speak about him, and this is like the first three things I've spoken about, and how I could go on for days and nights on this thing. So it's like I hope in this conversation I've given you enough for you to understand the power and impact Archangel Michael has, and why this is an angel you really, really want to have in your corner, that you really want to have a relationship, that you really want to have your back. And one thing I will say to you is whenever I say to Archangel Michael, I need you to have my back, they immediately I feel, and this is me, I don't know if it's everybody, but this is me. I feel like this is a massive hand is put right on my back, and I'm told, lean back, I've got you. And it's the most beautiful, beautiful feeling to have when you can actually feel the presence of his hand the whole way around your back, and that you can lean back and go, thank you. I can breathe now because I know I'm going to be okay. That that's priceless. It really is. And that's because I've really built that relationship with them though, and I can feel them. Now I didn't feel them from the very beginning. That I felt them that time in Teresa's cabin that day. I felt them here and there, but I didn't have the relationship back then that I have with him now. Like Kieran is what, he's 21. Like I must be 18 years doing this now that I'm consciously working with angels every day in some form or like I am constantly communicating with them. I don't even do the whole tuning in thing anymore. I just go, hello, good morning, hello, let me talk to you about something, and away we go. So it's like constant. I have that level of a relationship. And what I said to you, you don't need necessarily to have that level. You do, sorry, not you do. You will find that if you have a level of a relationship with them, your connection with them is strong. You feel it, you sense it, you trust it, you lean into it, and you allow them to help you. And you allow the support to come in and the guidance and the direction and the surprises and the answers and the signs and the symbols and the synchronicities because you've built that level of trust because you've built the relationship to have trust in. That's why I want you to work with them for the month and beyond. Now I'm going now because I could be here for another day and you'd be kind of going, the ear is wrung off me. There's a lot have to be said in this video. I would strongly recommend that you go back and you listen to it a couple of times. Um, there's just a lot have to come out. Now, I have no script. I've just named a few in there, different areas there that I need to remember. No script. That's from Archangel Michael to you because there's no way I could have articulated it so beautifully as he has done so, and the guidance that he has given. So, from Archangel Michael and myself, until next time, take care. Bye for now.